नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायामुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमाश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपाकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। हरे कृष्ण। We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam 7th Canto, chapter 5, verse. I think yesterday's 5th verse happened. Srinarada Uvacha Kritva Putra Giro Daitya Parapaksha Samahita 756 Jahasa Buddhir Balanam Vidyate Parabuddhibihi Srinarada Uvacha Kritva Putra Giro Daitya Parapaksha Samahita Jahasa Buddhir Balanam Vidyate Parabuddhibihi Srinarada Uvacha Kritva Putra Giro Daitya Parapaksha Samahita Jahasa Buddhir Balanam Vidyate Parabuddhibihi Srinarada Uvacha Parapaksha Samahita Buddhir Balanam Vidyate Parabuddhibihi Srinarada Vacha Shrutva Putra Giro Daitya Parapaksha Samahitaha Jahasa Buddhir Balanam Vidyate Parabuddhibihi Srinarada Vacha Shrutva Putra Giro Daitya Parapaksha Samahitaha Jahasa Buddhir Balanam Vidyate Parabuddhibihi Srinarada Vacha Shrutva Putra Giro Daitya Parapaksha Samahitaha Jahasa Buddhir Balanam Vidyate Parabuddhibihi Hare Krishna. So reading word for word meaning, translation purport. By divine spiritual Vedanta Shri Prabhupada ki word for word meaning, Srinarada Uvacha Narad Muni said, Shrutva hearing, Putra Giraha the instructive words of his son, Daityaha Hiranyakashipu Parapaksha on the side of the enemy, Samahita full of faith, Jahasa love, Buddhi the intelligence, Balana of small boys, Vidyate is polluted, Parabuddhivihi by instructions from the enemy's camp. Translation. Narada continued, when Prahlad Maharaj spoke about the path of self-realization in devotional service, thus being faithful to the camp of his father's enemies. Hiranyakashipu, the king of the demons, heard Prahlada's words, and he laughingly said, "This is the intelligence of children spoiled by the words of the enemy." I repeat after me the translation. Narayani continues, when Prahlad Maharaj spoke about the path of self-realization in devotional service, thus being faithful to the camp of his father's enemies, Hiranyakashipu, the king of the demons, heard Prahlada's words, and he laughingly said, "Thus is the intelligence of children spoiled by the words of the enemy." Therefore, Hiranyakashipu, being a demon, would always consider Lord Vishnu and his devotees to be his enemies. Therefore, the word Parapaksha on the side of the enemy is used here. Hiranyakashipu never agreed with the words of Vishnu or Krishna. Rather, he was angered by the intelligence of Vaishnava. Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna, Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. Give up all duties and surrender unto me. But demons like Hiranyakashipu never agreed to do this. Therefore, Krishna says, Tamam Duskritamo Mudha, Prabhadyante Naradhama, Maya Pratajnana, Maharam Bhavam, Ashtaka. Those Christians who were grossly foolish, lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and partake of the artistic nature of the demons, do not surrender unto me. The Asura Bhava, the artistic nature, is directly represented by Hiranyakashipu. Such persons being Mudha and Naradha, fools and rascals, the lowest of men, would never accept Vishnu as supreme and surrender to him. Hiranyakashipu naturally became increasingly angry that his son Prahlad was being influenced by the camp of the enemies. He therefore asked that saintly persons like Narada not be allowed within the residential quarters of his son, for otherwise Prahlad will be further spoiled by Vaishnava instructions. उपज्ञातिमिरन्धज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपाकरमयं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरामां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पार्षदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णाप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरविषे नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone. Hare Krishna Bhagavatam class. Should I proceed the blessings of this case? Sorry. Yeah. the room for kindly blessing so that we can speak something for his pleasure and for the pleasure of all the Vaishnavas and for the Lord, Hare Krishna. So this very wonderful episode is going on. Prahlad Maharaj, the saintly son of Hiranyakashipu. This is chapter 5. Okay. So here we can see that Prahlad Maharaj and Hiranyakashipu, they are face to face. I mean, they were there together, but the point is that the best of the devotee, Mahabharata devotee, and the personification of atheism, Hiranyakashipu, and the great demon, they are together and they are having conversation, like that. So, and so how it begins is that Hiranyakashipu very much eager to know what way Prahlad is getting educated under the wonderful, so-called wonderful training of Chanda and Amarka, the Shukracharya's two sons. So they were the teachers appointed for Prahlad Maharaj to get educated. In our Pune, there was a college, SAE college. So he would say Chanda and Amarka Engineering College, we would say. It is just very close to temple. Anyway, so Chanda and Amarka, they were actually very expert in this education of friend and enemies, as it is described here previously, that how this whole education is basically about politics, economics, political philosophy, considering someone a friend and someone also an enemy. So this is the kind of education they were teaching to Prahlad Maharaj. But Prahlad Maharaj was having a completely different conception, because he was seeing every living entity as son of Krishna, sacred child of Krishna. So he was the supreme well-wisher of all, as not as the supreme well-wisher, but as a devotee also. The Mahabharata devotee also becomes, actually, in that sense, the supreme or well-wisher of everyone. He also becomes the well-wisher of all, genuine well-wisher. So that's why Prahlad Maharaj did not have that vision of friend and enemy. So he could not have any effect of those teachings, because he was completely rooted in his real conception, which he got from his guru, Narada, because he has heard the Bhagavata philosophy, the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam when he was in the womb of his mother. So because of hearing that knowledge, transcendental knowledge given by his guru, he was so fixed in his conception that he was not shaken up with this kind of teachings, which Chandra and Varka were imparting, like that. So this is a characteristic of a great devotee, that his faith is not shaken up, even though he may have to hear certain wrong kinds of propagandas in this material world. The people who will be talking about different doctrines, atheistic philosophies, Mayavad philosophies, so many varieties of philosophies are there. But a devotee who is very much fixed by the mercy of his guru, then he won't be affected. He will completely remain fixed in his true conception of his being a servant of Lord, and every living entity being the part of a servant of Krishna. And because of he having love for the Lord, he also has love for all the living entities. So he is a well-wisher of everyone. So he cannot have this understanding of friend and enemy. Friend and enemy, that conception does not exist itself. In fact, he's a friend of all. The devotee becomes friend of all. Dhira, dhira, jana, priya. That, of course, for others also, the devotee becomes dear. Of course, not every, still, some people still envy a devotee like Hiranyaka should be envying him. Is upset because of his not surrendering to him, rather he surrendering to Supreme Lord. So this point we can understand that how the devotee who has heard from his guru is very fixed in his conception, he cannot be shaken up like that. So here Prahlad Maharaj was completely unaffected. And on the contrary, you see when Hiranyakashipu is asking what he did learn, then he's telling Bhagavad philosophy. And he's saying that you should actually take shelter of the Supreme Lord. This is what he is instructing to his father. He is telling, Tatsalmani Asuravilena, Sadasavadvina, Yam Asapya. If what a pattern, Vihamanda Vanamaka Paya, Harimash. It should take shelter of Lord Hari. So, it's completely different what Shanda and Amarka was they were teaching. Hiranyakashipu never expected that what he's saying. So if he's telling him to take shelter of the Lord, but here Hiranyakashipu is somebody against the Lord. He is, in fact, telling in this verse, today's verse, that he is using particular word, Parapaksha Samai. He is being faithful to the Parapaksha, that means enemy party. That's what he's saying. So Hiranyakashipu is demon, and he is not at all having any inclination to surrender to Krishna. Of course, because of his being completely under the grip of illusory energy, he is not wanting. He's completely against the Supreme Lord. He's a demon, and he is saying, Parapaksha, the enemy party. He's considering Lord Vishnu as enemy. And but Prahlad Maharaj is completely surrendered to Krishna. Completely surrendered to Krishna. So here you can see that how Prahlad Maharaj being completely surrendered to Krishna is so bold. And he is telling Hiranyakashipu that you take shelter of the Supreme Lord. That is for your ultimate good. Because he's saying that if you have taken shelter of something temporary, then you'll always remain in anxiety. You can never have freedom from fear and anxiety until unless you take shelter of the Supreme Lord. And he's feeling for the suffering of Hiranyakashipu. He's telling that, Prabhupada Vigna, Prabhupada Vigna full of anxiety, that means the person is suffering. So he's feeling the suffering of Hiranyakashipu. And he's telling you take shelter of the Lord. That is the only way you can come out of your suffering. Because they're completely attached to the material environment. Grihamanda is referring to the person is completely attached to the bodily concept of life, our household life, body concept of life. And the Kupam, nothing like a blind, that means he has no soul. There is no water. There is no water, but nonetheless, one searches for water. That means there is no happiness in that pursuit of the pursuit of happiness. There is no happiness actually in the materialistic household life, and in trying to search for material enjoyment, one will not become actually happy. There is no happiness there. So it's under and it's very difficult for that person to come out also. But Brahma is telling him, you come out and you take shelter for the Supreme Lord. Then you'll be alright. Then you'll be perfect. Like that. So this is how Prahlad Maharaj is so bold, completely fearless. Completely fearless. You can see here, Hiranyakashipu eventually becomes so disturbed by Prahlad Maharaj's not agreeing to the proposal of Hiranyakashipu in terms of surrendering to him, not to the Supreme Lord. Brahma was completely fearless, right? He has no anxiety. He is a small child. But Hiranyakashipu, you can see how much he will get disturbed. Because one person is not agreeing. How much he gets disturbed. You can clearly see that. So Hiranyakashipu is, because he is not having shelter of the Lord, and he is completely against the Supreme Lord. So, and he has taken shelter of temporary, his own body and material enjoyment. So you can see that how he is in such a state where he's so disturbed, and he's so much in actually anxiety and suffering. You can see that. So, to degree we are attached to anything temporary, we will be feeling anxiety. Anxiety will be there. So, only when we hold on to eternal shelter, like the Supreme Lord, His holy name, His holy fame, His books, devotees, to that degree only we can be free from anxiety. Otherwise, we cannot be away from it. Like there is no Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha means the place where there is no anxiety. So why there is no anxiety? Because everybody is taking shelter of the Supreme Lord, permanent shelter. But this world is called Kuntha. Material world is Kuntha. Why? Because here people are taking shelter of temporary. Their own body and things related to body. So when the shelter is temporary, then there will be anxiety always. So, like Prabhupada would say, this we put this and that if somebody is put in the middle of the ocean, so he will. So the situation is very awkward. He'll have so much anxieties because anytime some wave may come, some shark may come, so many anxieties will be there because he is not in his natural place. Natural place is to be on the land for a man like that. So same way, our natural resting place is Krishna's shelter. We can only take proper shelter at Krishna. So then we will be free from anxiety because Krishna can give us all protection. But when we are not in shelter of Krishna, then when we are not having the eternal shelter, the real shelter, then we will never be happy like that. So so this anxiety is automatic there, if there is no real shelter. So that we have to clearly understand. And only way to come out of all our anxiety is to take shelter of the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, one can never get free from anxiety in this material world. So that's why Prahlad Maharaj is not trying to just give some kind of superficial solution. He's telling very straightforward that your only you know, solution for your all these problems is only that you have to take shelter of the Supreme Lord. Like that. So this was very direct preaching, you can see. Srila Prabhupada also you find that Prabhupada would very directly talk about Krishna being the supreme God and taking shelter of Krishna. Even for the new people, when we go to universities, colleges, Prabhupada give lectures. Very directly you tell how we are suffering in this material world, and the cause of the suffering is you have turned against Krishna. You are taking shelter of temporary things. You are identifying yourself with this body, and you are trying to gratify your senses. You have completely got entangled in this program of sun gratification, and that's the cause of the suffering. So you give up your sun gratification, take the process of Krishna consciousness, and live a blissful life and go back to body. So Prabhupada will be very clear. He always say chant Hare Krishna and take the process of Krishna consciousness and give up this program of sun gratification. So Prabhupada would always be very direct to the point, not trying to just do some kind of just going around and not hitting the nail. So Prabhupada will always hit the nail very clearly like that. So here Prahlad Maharaj is also very directly telling Radhakashu, without any compromise like that. So, so I was thinking that here this purport, Asura Bhava is mentioned. So there is two kinds of Bhava, Asura Bhava and Bhakti Bhava. So I'll just little bit talk about that Asura Bhava and Bhakti Bhava. So you can see in this purport, the different characteristics is given for Hiranyakashipu. One of the things told is not surrender to Krishna. So this is Asura Bhava. Not willing to surrender to Krishna is Asura Bhava. But Bhakti Bhava or Bhakti Bhava is that one is surrendered to Krishna. So devotee will always take shelter of the Lord. Asura will not. And then he says he considered the Lord and devotees to be his enemies. Why? Because you can see here, he's saying that Parapaksha. That means he's considering them to be enemies. So this is the attitude of a demon. So they will consider devotees to be enemy, threat or enemies like that. But actually, Bhakti Bhava, that means those who are devotees. So their attitude will be that the Lord and devotees are my real friends and they're my well-wishers. So they won't see devotees as threat or enemy, but they are my well-wisher like that. So devotee is my real friend and well-wisher. That's the mood of the devotee. And then he says that the Asuras never agree with the words of Krishna. Because it's written here that Krishna wants people to surrender. So the demon will never agree to Krishna's instruction. So they will not hear that. But a devotee, he will immediately want to agree and take shelter of the Lord. So that is the characteristic of a devotee. Immediately agrees. And he follows the words of Krishna and his representatives. So that is Bhakti Bhava. And then he says, one more thing he says, he was angered by the intelligence of a Vaishnava. So what is the intelligence of a Vaishnava? The intelligence of a Vaishnava is to do good work, so much of good work, for himself and for the world. Like that means he'll be chanting, he'll be reading, he'll be doing services, and he'll be propagating Krishna consciousness. This is the intelligence of a Vaishnava. The intelligence of a Vaishnava is fixed on the Lord, and he'll be doing the work of Krishna. Correct. So he's telling about Hiranyakashipu. He was angered by the intelligence of a Vaishnava. That means those who are having asuric nature, those are asura, so they will become angry seeing the work of the devotees. They will become angry. Like when Prabhupada was trying to build Juhu temple, that Mr. N became so angry. So it is asuric, like that. Here Hiranyakashipu, Prahlad Maharaj is becoming a devotee, and he has become a devotee, and he is a devotee. Hiranyakashipu is so angry. You can see. So that is the nature of a demon. They will become angry. When they see the wonderful work of devotees, they will become upset or angry, like that. So, yeah. And then, but a devotee, what happens to the devotee? The devotee actually will actually appreciate, will appreciate the good work of the devotees. So those who are having bhakti bhav, so when they see some devotees doing a lot of good work, so instead of becoming envious and angry, rather they will appreciate wholeheartedly. All the devotees doing such wonderful service, like that. So they won't become angry. They will become very appreciative. And then he says, then he says here, they never accept Krishna as supreme. Further the purport it comes. That here Asura Bhava, is that such person being Mudha, Naradha, Fools and Rascal, the Lord would never accept Vishnu as a supreme and surrender to him. So this is Asuric nature. Never, they accept Krishna as the supreme Lord. So never, the supreme Lord means also we can say the supreme proprietor, supreme controller, supreme well-being, friend of everyone, supreme enjoyer. So they won't accept Krishna as supreme. So that is Asuric nature. And that's why they are filled with always, they are always filled with anxiety. Bhagavad also said, that Bhutara Vedatam Sarvalokam Ishvara. So Vedam Sarvabhutana Gyatamam Shanti. So those who accept Krishna as supreme proprietor, supreme enjoyer, and supremely well-wishing friend of everyone, so the other person can have perfect peace. But Asura, they will never accept Krishna as supreme, and they will never surrender also. The devotee will accept Krishna always, as supreme. And then another thing says that they try to put hindrance or restrictions in the activities of the Vaishnava. Because here it is written that Hiranyakashipu naturally became increasingly angry that his son Prahlad was being influenced by the camp of the enemies. He therefore asked the saintly person like Narada not to be allowed in the residential quarters of his son. So, he is objecting that Narada should not come. So they will try to put restrictions in the activities of Vaishnavas. This is the Asuric nature. So they will try to, put a lot of obstacles in the good work of the devotees. So that is Asuric nature. And then also, but a devotee actually will try to facilitate and support the activities of Vaishnavas. So that is Bhakti Bhav. So a devotee will always try to facilitate. And then the another thing is that there is an inertia to take association. So here you can see that he wanted to drive away Narada. And eventually you see that even he wanted to get rid of Prahlad also. So this is Asuric nature. So when we have this attitude to be not with devotees, so that is like Asuric kind of nature. So rather a devotee will always be very eager to take association. He like to take association. He like to associate with devotees. He loves devotees. That is Bhakti. So like that, I just took all the different points of the purport of Asuric nature of realization. And I parallelly tried to put how the devotee is, opposite of that. That he is having the attitude which is quite opposite in the attitudes of the demon, like that. So, Hiranyakashipu here he wanted Prahlad to surrender to him, but Prahlad was completely surrendered to Krishna, and that became the cause of his problem. So this is the demon's nature, that he wants people to obey him and surrender to him, and he is completely independent, whimsical, like that. So this kind of mentality is there, for those who are demonic, like that. But here Prahlad, he is not willing to take shelter of anybody else but Supreme Lord. So he is not surrendering to Hiranyakashipu. Uh, he is completely surrendered to Krishna only. So that was his determination. That was his determination. So you can see this is one of the attributes of a devotee. A devotee will never take shelter of anyone except Krishna. Hmm. No matter how much the devotee will be forced or harassed or I don't know, terrorized, whatever. But devotee will never take shelter of anybody else except Krishna. Krishna or his devotees. Whatever. Like here, Prahlad is taking shelter of the Narada and Lord, like that. So, and it was so much of threat for Prahlad. If Prahlad would have just agreed that, okay, I will accept what you're saying, then he would have been saved from all the troubles which I was mentioning. But Prahlad is completely fearless. He knows because when I'm taking shelter of Krishna, there's the ultimate, good thing which I can do, and that is what is the best thing which I can do. And Krishna will take care. I should not have any fear because Krishna is fully potent to protect. He will take care of everything, and that's my duty. So why and why should I have any fear? So this kind of clarity Prahlad had. You see. So he was not at all fearful because he had full faith in Krishna and his protection, like that. So and such kind of fearlessness is really very rare to have such kind of. And you can see Bhagavatam is extreme example. Here Prahlad and Hiranyakashipu. Prahlad is small child. Hiranyakashipu is a great demon. Such a great demon that even the demigods are fearful of. They also become subservient to Hiranyakashipu. But here is a Prahlad, a small boy, but he's completely fearless because of his such deep faith in the protection of Supreme Lord. So we see in actually in Chaitanya Bhagavat, this story comes of Haridas Thakur being completely fearless. When he was also told by Kazi, there when Haridas Thakur came to Puya, uh, Nadia informed that he went to Puya, and he was in association of Acharya and many other devotees. So that time Haridas Thakur was doing so much ecstatic. He was chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and he was having his hair standing on end, and he was helplessly chanting Krishna, completely surrendered to Krishna. And his fame was increasing. So many people were actually becoming affected by Haridas Thakur's glorious devotional service because he was helplessly attracted to the Lord. Just like Prahlad also was helplessly attracted to the Lord. So Haridas Thakur actually also is said that is incarnation of Brahmaji and also Prahlad. Both is said. So we can see the same mood there also. He also is helplessly attracted. Now Haridas Thakur also was born in Muslim, right? But his birth did not, became obstacle for his attraction. Same way here, Prahlad also is born in Hiranyakashipu's family. That is the one family, right? But his birth also did not affect. He was also attracted to Supreme. Just like the iron filings are attracted to the magnet, same way, this the heart of the Prahlad also was attracted to the Supreme Lord, helplessly, like that. So so this so Haridas Thakur was so much in ecstasy and everybody were seeing so much, they're getting so much joy. Everyone, even Muslims also. They also would actually, become very affected by seeing the genuine devotional service of Haridas Thakur. And but Kazi there, he became very envious. He became very angry. This Kazi, he actually complained to King of Bengal. He went to King of Bengal and he said that you should punish him because he's spoiling the name of Muslims. He will bring all the bad reputation to our um, whole glorious what is it, Kula, what is it called? Dynasty. So because he is born in a Muslim family, but he's standing the name of Hindu god. That's what they were saying. So they became. So he was very furious. He was very angry, and he really wanted to punish Haridas Thakur. So then Haridas Thakur, when Kazi told like this, so the king ordered, okay, bring Haridas Thakur to my kingdom. I want to see him. Yes. to handle this case. So when Haridas Thakur was brought, then there's another beautiful description of that. There are many people and very nice people, good people. They were also imprisoned by the king there. But the Muslim government and they were against many of the religious principles and all. So many prisoners were there. So now Haridas Thakur was also put in that prison for some time before he meets the king. So when prisoners came to know that Haridas Thakur is coming, they became so jubilant. They became very happy. Yo, now we are going to get the darshan of Mahabharata divinity. Because they heard the fame of Haridas Thakur. His devotional service was very well known to the people around because he was very genuinely having the devotion for God. So when Haridas Thakur comes to the jail, the prison house, so all the prisoners, the distress was completely gone. It went away just by seeing the Haridas Thakur. And it is described that they became so jubilant, so ecstatic. They started offering obeisance to Haridas Thakur. And Haridas Thakur gave blessings to them. And what does Haridas Thakur do? He says, "May you remain like this forever." Till like this. And then they became a little surprised. What kind of blessings? May I always be always stay like this forever? What does it mean? And then Haridas Thakur says, "No, don't misunderstand me. What I mean is, now you are in prison, so you are in a very helpless condition, and you are fixing your mind on Krishna very nicely. This helpless condition now, right now, your mind is completely fixed on the Lord. So may this situation of yours, you always remain like this. You don't change your situation. Let you stay like this always. That means you always helplessly fix your mind on Krishna. Like that. And also staying like this means also staying away from materialism. Because when they're in prison, they're put in such kind of place where you'll not want to think of materialism. Like yesterday we got a letter from a jail. Special group and reading that letter. So one prisoner had written a letter telling that I am put into jail and I have been told to do some service. So, but I am not finding any means by which I can serve Krishna or anything because they have all religious things, different other religion. So he is serving some Buddhist something like that. But he's saying that in Nepal I had ISKCON temple nearby and I had some impressions of Krishna. So I really want to change myself. I want to transform my heart. So can you please send me some books? So he wrote a letter. We received the letter. So Sudarshan was going to send the letter and beats and everything. So not even who brought the letter and said, please send the beat and everything. So now they're going to send him that way. So you can see the prison, because the person is in a very precarious situation, right? So that time, so that at least what that particular time when he's like that under punishment. So it's not easy to think of material enjoyment because already he's been suffering because of his previous sinful acts. So he was repenting. He was saying, "I have done so many sins in my life." In the letter he writes. So and I'm feeling repentant about, it. And I want to actually become a better person. So I really need help. Can you send me some books? I want to read it. So like that he was requesting that prisoner. Yes, some books for prison, for ISKCON prison ministry. And they want to accept any books or anything. Oh, individual. Oh, okay. So that's we can need to pay for that. I know one quoting that will send. So, anyways, so the point is that so you can take care of that. So, so in prison, so Haridas Thakur could see that how they are actually away from material enjoyment. But if they go out of the prison, then again they will get into the regular affair, and again they will become busy with the household life, family, children, and all that. So, and then Haridas Thakur also mentioned how this kind of life, where one is attached to wives, children, material enjoyment, is actually such a great obstacle to make spiritual advancement. So he says there that the material enjoyment, if somebody is engaged in or entangled in, for him to make advancement in Krishna consciousness is almost impossible. It is very difficult. So that's why he says it is a good situation for you that you are in the prison and you are out of the whole pursuit of material enjoyment because of your situation like this. So may you stay like that and take shelter of Krishna like that. So this kind of temperament is required for a devotee to make advancement in Krishna consciousness. The advancement is very swift. If we have this kind of renounced temperament, that means we are not wanting, material enjoyment in this world. So this kind of renounced temperament is required for a sadhaka to progress very swiftly. That's why Srila Prabhupada, time and again, will completely destroy this mentality of material enjoyment. You see. Even Prahlad also says this. He says, Naivo Dilay Paradurate Vaitaranyas. So the Veer Gayana Mahamata Pamiti Shoche Tato Mukha Chedasa Indriyartha Maya Sukhaya Param. So these all people, artistic mentality they carry, and Maya Sukhaya Param Mudgalu Vimudha. They are carrying the heavy burden of Maya Sukhaya. Like that. And Raghunath said, I am worrying about them. I am feeling compassion on them. Because these are people, they are not going to take Krishna consciousness. Because they are turning their face against Krishna, away from Krishna. And they are looking for material Krishna. So that is the problem. Like that. So it's a very fortunate position. If somebody feels some frustration in medicine, at least you start questioning. There is some problem. So I was reading the lecture of Jayadvaita Maharaj, he was saying, so he was saying this point that to get doubt in this whole program of material life is a very good thing. That this is not making me happy. There is some problem there. So having this doubt is the beginning. Some doubt should come. अरे कुछ तो गड़बड़ है इसमें. Because I'm looking for happiness, but something opposite is only happening. So this kind of realization or some doubt is very good. And in fact, Nectar of Devotion says that when one becomes disgusted, this whole program of material enjoyment, then actually he can approach the work for his spiritual master reason seriously. Like that. So that is the qualification required. So one should feel somewhat disgusted with the program material. You should be willing to come out. That mood is required. Like that. And Prabhupada keeps this mood. He always keeps teaching this thing. Because Prabhupada will always attack on our bodily consumption and material enjoyment. You can see, Prabhupada is always condemning Maya Sukhaya Paramurto Vimohan, like that. Or Sukhavi Tucham, which is an insignificant, insignificant material enjoyment. It's very tuchha, it's very, very degraded. So one should not go for it like that. So here, Haridas Thakur also says like this to all these prisoners that you are very fortunate because you are not in that mood of material enjoyment and you are taking shelter of Krishna. So these both things are required for us to make very strict progress. Like that. And then Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so much. And then we see that after this, they become very happy. All the prisoners become very happy. And then Haridas Thakur was brought in front of the king. And then the king, says, "What? Why you are chanting like this? Krishna's name, Hindu God's name. What is this?" And then he says, "Hey, everybody in this world is inspired by the Lord, and that's how they are doing their different kinds of work. If the Lord inspires some Muslim to chant the name of Hindu God, then he's chanting. And if suppose some Hindu is there and he's becoming Muslim, he's chanting some Allah's name, that's also fine. So what is the problem? So ultimately, the Lord is only inspiring different. This is how he tells to king. And then and he says that I am helpless here. It's not that I am enabling, I am helpless here. So that he explains what happened. And then hearing this, the Muslims, those who were there around, they became very satisfied. Oh, this person is actually insulted. He is devotion to Supreme Lord. But we see that the Kaji was still very angry. Kaji was very, very angry. He said, no. And then king asked, what should be done? What should be done with this Kaji? King asked. And Kaji says, oh, he should be killed only. Because so actually one thing is that we can do two things. One thing is we should chant kalma. There is some kind of prayer, some kind of one thing they have to chant, but this one becomes Muslim. Like that. He can do that, or he should be killed. He should be beaten. So that's the only way. So then, but Haridas Thakur was told, you have the option. Then he says that again, he says the same thing. Actually, it's not that I'm it's just I'm just effect. I'm just chanting Lord's name like that. So the Lord inspiring, I'm doing it. And then he says this, famous verse that, even if my body is cut into thousand pieces, khanda khanda, then from every particle of my body, the holy name will come. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Still, I will not give up chanting Holy Name. Even my body is cut to thousand pieces also. Still, I will continue chanting the Holy Name. So there, it is described that how the Holy Name of the Lord is completely spiritual. It's not at all dependent on any material situation of life. One can always chant the Holy Name of the Lord in all situations of life. So that happens by the mercy of the Lord, by the inspiration of the Lord. The devotee has a genuine, pure heart, and he's faithful, and he's having a genuine desire to take shelter of the Lord. Then, by the mercy of the Lord, the devotee can chant Holy Name like that. We know some examples, like some cases. There's one Mataji, she couldn't remember anything of her life. She hardly had some disease she got, but she was able to remember the Hare Krishna. So only Hare Krishna she knew. And he was telling about Sudarshan Guru, Arunakshi Guru in Jain. So he's facing some kind of disease. Why is he not able to recognize any devotee? The devotee comes, can't recognize. He was telling, he was a head pujari. He could dress himself within 20 seconds, 30 seconds, do the entire thing and just go in the altar. But he's saying now it's taking 20 minutes almost. But he's still standing 54 hours. Right? He's going on standing 54 hours. So today morning I was thinking, how the Lord may be making this all happen. Then I was thinking, see, sometimes we get distracted with so many things, so many people, so many things. We may have some kind of negativity, so many things will be there. So more you remember the things and objects of this world, there will be possibility you may get some material thought sometimes. For some devotee, Lord may arrange like just you become completely aloof, forgetful of this whole life only. And what you remember is only the glory. And I was thinking, there will be lots better arrangement, something, to just further his devotion, make him more and more just completely absorbed in the Lord only. Maybe possible. We never know. So Haridas Thakur also is saying that no matter what, even my body is cut into thousand pieces, still I will continue chanting the prayer. So that is his determination, and that is his faith also. Because this is how God will always give me the facility to I'll always chant the holy name of the Lord. Because the holy name is not a mechanical thing with tongue and intellectual adjustment or some physical platform. It is actually completely spiritual. Holy name is completely spiritual, and it's the call of the soul for the shelter of the Lord. So that's how the holy name is. So like that, Haridas Thakur says, and then they understood that Haridas Thakur is not going to agree for any other group. So just like here also Prahlad was proposed. Instead of chanting Hare Krishna mantra, you chant on Hare Krishna mantra. Chant Hare Krishna. But Prahlad was Hare Krishna. I can't. This is what I'm thinking. So he also couldn't think of any other option, just to take shelter of the Lord through the holy name. So then Kazi becomes so angry, and then Kazi says that actually the king asks what should be done. So Kazi says, he should be beaten up in 22 markets heavily. So get this guards, very strong built men, and they arrested then the Kazi and king ordered, take him, arrest him, take him, and beat him. 22 marketplaces. That was the order given by the king. And then Haridas Thakur was completely fearless. So here also you find Prahlad will be thrown in such kind of dangerous situation, thrown out of cliff, put in the pit of the snakes, under the feet of the elephant. So many varieties of ways was getting tortured. But Prahlad Maharaj was completely unaffected because he was completely remembering the Supreme Lord. He was having this Smaran, always remembering the Supreme Lord. Here, Haridas Thakur is always remembering the Lord and chanting Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Haridas Thakur was completely chanting all throughout. And it is said that Haridas Thakur was not feeling any pain also. In fact, he was smiling. He was smiling and not feeling any pain. And he was going on chanting Hare Krishna. And you can see even Prahlad also was the same situation. Prahlad also is having so much of externally, so much of torture his father was putting him eventually, you see. But Prahlad Maharaj also was completely peaceful and smilingly and just simply absorbed in the Lord like that. So of course, later in Mahaprakash Lila, Chaitanya Babu shows his back and shows that how he also has in Mahaprakash Lila, he shows that how he has got uh, stains of the marks of the beatings. So he says, Haridas Thakur, you remember you were beaten up 22 marketplaces like this? So at the time I personally came and I covered your body and I took all the beatings like that. And seeing this Haridas Thakur was like completely, his heart was breaking, hearing this. But this is how the Lord is completely he cares for his devotees. You can see that. So it's a extreme situation, you see. And the devotee is completely faithful. You can see how both Prahlad Maharaj and Haridas Thakur, of course, as I said, is incarnation of Prahlad Maharaj also. So the same mood is there. It's completely fearless. He's getting beaten up, but he's not at all disturbed. And so much so that, actually all the other people, they were all in so much of distress. Seeing how Haridas Thakur is beaten up. So some people were saying the Kazi and king. Some people were, catching the feet of this, executioners, those were beating your guards. Then, no, please don't beat them so badly, So then there's so many people there, because they were all loved Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur was there, chanting and performing devotions and so on. So they were all, their hearts were breaking like that. So there, Vrindavan Thakur says that actually Haridas Thakur is such a great devotee just by remembering Haridas Thakur, or just by remembering what is remembering Haridas Thakur's activities, one can get relieved from all the distresses of life. He can be relieved from all the distresses of life. So, what is because Haridas Thakur having any distress? It's just not possible. He says like this. So Haridas Thakur is externally put in a very miserable situation, but he is not suffering. Troublesome situation, but he's not suffering, you can see, because he's remembering the Supreme Lord, he's chanting the name of the Lord. So he says, Sridhar Swami Maharaj says that the pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Like that. So if you are actually taking shelter of the Supreme Lord, then the devotee won't, experience the suffering away, but at least, they have such kind of uh, very dry, painful, miserable suffering situation. That experience is there. But for a devotee who's taking such firm shelter of the Lord, so he won't feel that much, that kind of suffering actually. I can see that. The degree he's taking shelter of the Lord, that degree he won't perceive. He will not experience the suffering. Rather, he will experience such coolings and um, cooling embrace, or you can say the shelter, the caress of the Supreme Lord. So there it is explained also, like child being cared by his parents. How child will feel so safe, cooling shelter of his parents. Like that. The same way, here Prahlad Maharaj was feeling, and same way Haridas Thakur was feeling. Haridas Thakur was not at all having any distress like that. And seeing this situation of Haridas Thakur, the guards, they became very much afraid also. They were thinking, hey, this Haridas Thakur is not getting killed only. And then and they started thinking maybe he's very big what's it peer means very great saintly person. So he's not getting killed only. And then they started requesting Haridas Thakur, Haridas Thakur, you're not getting killed only, and you become the cause of our death. Because Kazi will kill us. Because we're not able to kill you, like that. So that's Thakur says, and actually Haridas Thakur was praying for them even before. He was praying for them also. Oh Lord, please forgive their offenses. They don't know what they're doing. They're just beating and also please forgive them. He was even praying for them. And even we can see also how Prahlad Maharaj also had the same mood. Even the Hiranyakashipu was being so much of torture, but Prahlad was praying for his father. When Narasimha appeared, then what did he do? He prayed. Like that you can see. So even Jesus Christ also we hear the same way that he was praying for those same people who were trying to crucify him. So this is the theme. I mean, this is the constant theme we can see in the devotee that he is fixed in his devotion to the Lord, and he never considers himself or he never feels any kind of envious feeling towards anyone. Even the people who are trying to destroy him or attack on him also. He's feeling compassion for them also. Because he sees them suffering. Not he is not suffering, but he sees them suffering because of their own anger, because of their own envy. So he's able to see that they are actually suffering. And he personally has no anxiety. Like Prana also says, no? Never I'm completely absorbed, in remembering the glorious pastimes of the Lord. So I am having no suffering. But he's feeling for the suffering of the people who are carrying the burden. Here you can see his father himself was such a great practice. So he's carrying the burden of material enjoyment. He's feeling suffering for his own father also. You can see. So and Prahlad Maharaj is asking boon for deliverance of his father. You can see that. So this is the mood of Prahlad Maharaj. And Prahlad Maharaj also comes as daughter. He also said. So he also was praying the same way, right? He was praying that let everybody, all everyone's sin come to me, that and everybody get healed like that. So this is a mode of a devotee. Devotee has that compassion for everyone. So instead of he becoming angry or becoming envious of anyone who's attacking on it, rather he becomes compassionate. Like that. So then Haridas Thakur, he was praying like that. And then when he heard from these guards that they will be put into difficulty because of Haridas Thakur immediately said, okay, oh, if that is the case, no problem. Then he just sat in meditation. And of course, he was always in meditation, but he just externally also sat like that. And then he became motionless and he just fell, like that. And then this guard thought, okay, now Haridas Thakur has left the body. And then they took his body to the king, and then Qazi, and king, they say that, oh, they said, okay, let him, we will bury him. Then Qazi said, no, no, don't bury him, because if you bury him, then he will get hired. So better we don't bury him. Better we just throw him on the Ganges. It's so envious, huh? Even after death also, he's thinking that he should not get destination, but a destination. Of course, in their own ways, they're thinking like Prahlad Maharaj is thinking of how even such a Hiranyakashipu was such a great, atrocious king, the demon, but he is thinking whatever the case, but deliver him. See, the mood is completely different. But here the Qazi, the king, they're thinking that even after death also, it should go down, like such kind of enemy. You can see complete contrast in devotee and demon. Complete contrast. So then this guard, they actually, take the Haridas Thakur, and there it is described that Haridas Thakur was, actually the Lord was present, Lord Vishwambar entered in his body and he became very heavy also. But anyway, they threw him in the Ganges, and then he was floating in the Ganges for some time. Again he came, in the Puja ground. And then when he came out, again he was chanting and dancing and all that. And seeing that, oh, everybody was completely amazed. Oh, he must be a very saint person. And then king also comes to see him, and then he begs forgiveness that I understand you are actually a saint because nothing would happen like that. And that time he says that you can now go anywhere. You have full permission. Wherever you want to be there, you can be there. And then Haridas Thakur chooses a cave and then he was staying there and was performing in the ocean. And then further pastime comes. But you can see that how Haridas Thakur was actually completely unaffected. Same like the mood of Prahlad Maharaj, that way. So now Srimad Bhagavatam makes this kind of extreme examples for us so that we can at least in our life, we remember, to take shelter of the Lord in our own way and know that this is the real thing which we are supposed to do instead of getting too much disturbed. Now, nobody can imagine, somebody in any one of our life that troubles and difficulties like Prahlad, what he faced or Haridas Thakur faced will come. Nobody will come and beat us, like this 32 marketplaces. Nobody will go and throw us out of cliff or put us in the pit of snake. Nobody is going to do that. No person in this world will do that for us. Correct. No? But this kind of extreme things they have faced. And still they remain completely aloof from that, they remain completely no anxiety. No? So, and how can, but in our life, little thing happen, then we will understand. So at least we can remember them, we can pray to these personalities. And by their mercy, by their glorifying them, remembering them, we may also get some, the top of their qualities, to remain fixed in the Supreme God. And, and also feel for the pain of others, like that, compassion, like that. So this is how we can learn how this works. So instead of becoming so disturbed and just losing the opportunity to actually grow in our devotional service, rather one should endeavor to become more deep in his practice of devotion. So any kind of difficulties come, we should always see them. Let me deepen my devotional service. The opportunity now, like that. So any kind of difficulties come. Like if you're going out, and somebody says something against Vaishnava philosophy or something, and you may get bewildered, right? You may get affected. Your faith is disturbed. So you can take an opportunity. My faith is disturbed because my faith was not so deep. The very fact my faith was disturbed means my faith was not deep. Let me make my faith more deep. So then you will come back and come more deeply situated in your faith. Then you read Bhagavatam, read Gita more, take more shelter of customers. Like that. Say sometimes you find some superior will chastise you and you get disturbed. Mind is so disturbed. I don't want to now look at him also. I don't want to obey him. I want to run away from him. Like that. So that shows the very fact you're disturbed so much. That means what? Our relationship with him was not good. Our subordination, our love, our faith was very superficial. Correct? Now, sometimes we will say, oh, I love my guru, I worship my guru and all that. But if you sometimes serve with guru, it may not be so easy. Guru will chastise you or cut you in the sense, not physically cutting, cut your policy, and it will be very difficult. So from distance it will look very good, but when you go close, then you may, sometimes one may become one's faith may get disturbed. Why my guru is like this? One may start seeing with material vision like that. So this is a problem. So when we get this kind of disturbance in our faith to our own superiors or guru or anything, so we have to know that means my faith was superficial. That means my love was superficial. That I have to grow more deep. That we can learn from other Vaishnavas. Those who have more genuine faith and deeper love. We can learn from them how to deepen my faith. And how can I more develop genuine relationship with my spiritual master? I should hear more from him. I should serve him more. Then only I develop more. Not like he said to me like this, I'm disturbed, so I leave him. So not like that. That means we are not willing to take shelter and grow. You're getting this one, I'm to give you some examples. So any kind of difficulties we face in this in our life, we should always take it as an opportunity to grow. Not like we get an excuse to leave. So those who take opportunity to grow, they're sincere. Those who take an excuse to leave or give up, quit, that is insincerity. Okay. So sincere personality, sincere devotee will always flourish. His faith will grow, his devotion will grow, he becomes more stable, his love for God and Guru will increase, his faith will increase. So all this will happen. But if we are insincere, we'll see this as an opportunity, as an excuse, and then we want to. And then, of course, we'll not quit. Our Krishna will take care, we'll advance, but our progress will be slow. Like that. So better to always have this mood that let me grow in my devotion, let me deepen my faith, let me deepen my Krishna consciousness. That mood is very, very vital like that. So if we are not able to have that kind of state of consciousness to take shelter of the Supreme Lord and compassion like Prahlad or like other stuff. But at least in our own way, we have that principle in mind. This is what I'm supposed to do. Like for Dhruv Maharaj also, immediately his mother said that you should not you should not keep any kind of envious or envious feeling towards your mother. Correct, no? So now the Dhruv Maharaj may not able to that time feel compassion on her mother. At least mother said don't harbor unnecessary negative envious feeling like that. So now in our case, at least we can try to do that. Okay, some because of some devotee we find disturbance, at least don't become so envious and want to harm it now. Tit for tat, You understand? No? So hearing the example of Prahlad Maharaj or Hridas Thakur, one can know how what principle should be my guiding, and what are the guiding principles for me. Correct. So let me not no. Actually, ideally speaking, I should love that devotee. I should be compassionate. I should not get any disturbance. But okay. So at least we should not harbor any negative feelings. We should love the devotee for his devotional service. At least we should appreciate, recognize. So some way we have that scope of work like that. Otherwise, if you don't contemplate on this glorious character of Srimad Bhagavatam, Charitamrita, so then we have no clue how to act in our lives like that. So that's why we have this regular hearing program here from Srimad Bhagavatam, and we hear glorious devotional steps from these glorious people. So it's not just some kind of nice stories, but we have to see how we can emulate those principles, those teachings, what they are exhibiting in their life, in our own life, how we can translate that. With the help of other devotees, we can learn. Gradually, we can grow in our devotion. So I'll stop here. It's only 9:30. So, do you have any comment or question? 3 months, I will pause. I was expecting Shiva's to do it. I was thinking what happened. Shiva's do not really anything. I was looking at you. Thank you. Yes, bro.
Thank you, Prabhu, for drawing that parallel between Prahlad Maharaj and Haridas. So yeah, I just had one reflection and one question. So one reflection I had based on this section of Haridas Thakur, how he was beaten in 22 minutes. The yeah, the philosophical teaching he gives to those pious people who are prisoners, that's really very inspiring. It shows the value system of a devotee. Our devotee values Krishna more than anything else. More than the freedom, more than being outside the prison, more valuable than that is having Krishna. If inside the prison I can be more Krishna conscious, a devotee doesn't mind being in a prison. It's better to be Krishna conscious in a prison rather than be free outside and live a materialistic life. So, and likewise, even in our day-to-day life, we draw a parallel. It's better to, like there's a statement by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, bad health with Krishna consciousness is better than good health without Krishna. Of course, if we can have good health and as well as be Krishna conscious, it's very good. But if there are only these two options, then bad health with Krishna consciousness is better than good health without Krishna. Likewise, with regards to wealth also. Poverty with Krishna consciousness is better than being wealthy but without Krishna consciousness. So yeah, that section is really inspiring. So also one question I had, yeah, materialistic association. In the beginning, you were talking about Shanghai and America College, SAC.
SAE.
SAE.
Yeah, SAE college. And then I'm engineering college. I don't know the full form actually. Remember that only. I was in that voice, SAE voice for some time.
Oh.
When I was working. And when I was taking books at home. Temple is quite near. Walk by and go.
Yeah, like Prahlad Maharaj was exposed to such, he was in such demoniac association, but he was like a lotus in muddy waters. But when those of us, well, we are vulnerable living in that place, we are struggling sometimes. So when we also are caught up in a lot of materialistic association, especially when we have to work or study in college. So one mistake we may end up making is confiding in somebody who is materialistic. If we go make too close a friendship with somebody materialistic and we start revealing our heart, we become very vulnerable. So how do we cultivate the habit of only trusting devotees and confiding in them?
Yeah, by having good association, good relationship with devotees. I mean, the question itself is the answer. The more we identify with our devotees that are real family members, devotees are our family members actually. More we are feeling shelter in devotee association, devotee relationship, that degree we will not seek shelter there. Because somewhere we have to have this exchange because that's our need also. Because we are all human beings, because we are not that we have not become transcendental completely where we can just be alone like Prahlad and be fully Krishna. We're not able to do that. So we need, and of course, Prahlad Maharaj is having exchanges with God and Guru also. On that level, is able to do it. But for us, we need devotees. So we have devotees, and that's why we are such a nice sangha. The devotees are our real brothers, they're our elder brother, our parents, everyone. So they're like that. So having this association, and so this Halda Sai Mata says this, this mamata should be there. Like for the temple also, this is my temple. So we should not think that it is someone else. It is mine. That the mamata is good. Mine, it's my house. People feel so much attached to their house. Same way, feeling is our temple. So when Halda Maharaj will come to Pune temple, then it's like this. ये 10 मिनट दे रहा है ये थोड़ा क्रैक आ गया जैसे तो बोले प्रभुपाद जी का है ना ये तो हमारा घर है तो ऐसे नहीं खराब होना चाहिए now he is not having any managerial role but why is feeling because he is feeling our he's feeling his mind because Prabhupada का home so like that he is feeling so same way devotee also have to feel our my bandhu my own brothers like that one should feel devotees are my own brothers more than our blood relatives we have to feel for our devotees actually. So yesterday morning my mother sent me a message. घर को भूल गए क्या ऐसे लग रहा है घर को भुला दिया क्या ऐसे करके लिखा actually I'm trying to revive my real home I'm in progress actually भुला दिया था but I'm trying to revive correct no because our real home we are forward our real home is spiritual world and real family is devotees family so we are in revival state we are trying to so I'll give a reply to her I'm in the revival state not like that but the point is that these are real home. These are real family members. The identification should be there. When this identification is there, then automatically will like to share and talk to devotees. So automatically will be there. And I remember a brother was there in where somewhere, Texas, Houston. Suddenly he would call, Prabhu, I have to ask him a question. Like that 2-3 times he would. Some trouble he's facing. So immediately he's remembering, devotees here. And then I did not get call. Then he called Ramchandra devotee. So he could have called his father, he could have called his brother, he could have called, but some identification. That's why he's seeking shelter in devotees. Right? So if we are not feeling like talking to devotees, that means still our identification with our material circle is more than devotees. So we have to really then see that we have to do some homework. So and how the relationship is developed by devotional studies. Come and hear the Bhagavatam class like this. Come and do some services together with devotees. Read with devotees. Ask questions. Inquire from them. That's how relationship is developed. So the relationship will, if that is there, then automatically will come and seek shelter in devotee association. So as that day Bhagwan Sham was saying that when we go outside, we are not trying to take their association. When we come to devotees, then our heart will be so open. Our heart will be very open. Just receive. So much we can take association. I think every devotee of every act of the devotee is inspiring. It is so pleasing. Correct, no? What is the devotee when he is speaking some Krishna, he's performing devotional it is so inspiring. You can see that. So this is not taking associations. With open heart, with open mind, one should take association more and more. And when you go out, you should be completely inert for their association. Because their every activity, their words, everything is contaminated. Even activities also, correct? Like when you go for book distribution, you will not be talking to them also. But there may be different activities. Somebody may be drinking, somebody may be smoking. Many people just go and they will have some electric something. So all the activities are also very contaminated. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that If you see the face of Madhuri, you would jump the Ganges. So we cannot do that because we are engaging in devotional service. We will distribute in both whatever it is. But the point is that we should not take their association. Rather, what association I have taken, we have taken from our experience. So when we are talking about distributing books, we tell them, take the books, we can tell something about Krishna Master. So we have to give our association. But in terms of we have to very strict, we don't take their association. But that is only possible when we have taken association. But we have not taken association in devotees and the next day, then we will automatically take their association. Because somewhere we have to fill our heart. The heart is not filled, the devotees are. Like how we can see how Prabhupada disciples filled with Prabhupada's remembrance and his qualities and his shelter. So much so that wherever they went, they were just completely inundating the whole place with Krishna Master. The opening centers and people were becoming devotees. And they were completely, gloriously performing devotion. Because they were so much, they have got so much association of Prabhupada. Prabhupada has given them, filled their heart so much like that. So you feel very ecstatic, if you are having this kind of exchanges with devotees. It's very important to have identification with devotees. Devotees are like your family members. So it's very natural for us. If you are making proper advancement, then we'll identify with devotees more. And I would see that, So with my father, I share a lot. After I come back to school, I just keep checking so many things, This teacher did that teacher did this. So much I tell my father. And he was very patient. But I remember after I, came to Krishna Mind, when I came to voice, then the father, it kind of gone away on me. Then it became devotees. Then when devotees I shared. And I hear from them. Like, of course, I respect my father. But he couldn't give me that, spiritual, could not give me, not, I'm not blaming him, but you understand, from devotees we get so much of Krishna mind. So it becomes more nice and relatable and good kind of thing. And of course, my father may also give me some regards. We respect that particular things. But what I'm saying is our identification with devotees was strong. We grow in our devotion service. So it's a very, very important point. Otherwise, if you are not identifying with devotees, and well, devotees are a regular mission. They are the people who are going to rescue us and take us back to God. So it's a very, very important point. Okay. Any other thing anybody has? Yes, no.
Actually, another point about Tiger Staff during the mistakes and difficulties also they are remembering for and they are even happy and also. Nowadays, like you push mountains, shakeable and disturb so much in this medical book. Actually, the movements of our mind. I mean, there are many other factors that still, I mean, that mindset is to be.
Yeah. For every difficulty or troubles we face, we always have some shining example in our time. Or even in life of devotee also. When you talk to devotees, you'll get to know. If you have some issue, go to some senior devotee. He will tell you many things. How he also has faced some issues and troubles. But how he could come up, how he could was rescued. And so yeah, so we can give you some nice wisdom with his experience also. So one thing is to hear the wonderful character, the glory of devotional service, what the wonderful character which was Bhagavatam is one way. Another thing, by talking to senior devotees also. That way also they can also give us, because they are also performing wonderful devotional service. By their experience of this, right. So we should be very communicative. Go and talk to devotees. When Maharaj says this, no? Anytime if I meet our just go and talk to devotees. You immediately find relief. Just go and talk to devotees. Sometimes we just keep ourselves, to ourselves. Then what is there? We are associated with mind only. And the mind will eat you up. So that's why it's good to be at least physically be associated. Staying somewhere alone, somewhere far in one room. The devotee is normally not accessible. It's not a very good thing actually. It's always good to be with devotee, no matter what. Be with devotee or being around devotees. So anything is there can always easily access. Stop to him, speak to him for some time. That itself is very revealing. Because the devotee is having some customers, shares, then you can relieve. Otherwise, our mind takes over. It's the greatest non-devotee. Like that. So that's why physically also being curious. In our voices, we sometimes just study in temple hall. The altar would be open and we'd study there only. And many times, at that time, Sudarshan would come. So he would invite in his room. Go and study. I'll come bring the books, study with me. Being here, everything. So he'll be studying Bhagavatam, whatever it is. We'll put our table and all, study there. Do that. Good. Then devotees. Do you study also? Do devotees. No problem. I'm not saying all the time. You have to go to the library and we do it. But what I'm saying is that we should be very happy to be with. Devotees के साथ अच्छा है. It's easy to access devotees, talk to devotees. Just seeing devotee is much good only. Like that. So we very much have that eagerness to be with devotees, talk to devotees, communicate with devotees. They can speak to you. You can tell also when you go, oh, I don't want anything. I just want to speak something. Can you have some time, 10 minutes, 15 minutes after that? Catch some devotee. You speak. Oh, we're really happy to hear you. And they may also say something to you. It's good. Like that. So we don't have to keep just feeling that struggle and just keep struggling and feeling troubled and losing our strength in Krishna. We should be very communicated. Keep talking, keep reading, keep engaging somewhere. Okay, we'll stop here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. You want to say something? Right.
Praise Radha Prabhu.